Hola familia, Heidi am back with some updates with regards to Hot Dogs International Documentary Film Festival this year. Many of you who know me well know that Hot Dogs is one of my favorite festivals in the city of Toronto and internationally speaking. It showcases excellent documentary films from across the world. So I wanted to share some of my picks for this year's festival. But before I get to that, I just want to mention that the Hot Dogs Festival will actually be hybrid this year, where some of us who live in Toronto will be able to experience the festival again in person in various cinemas across the city of Toronto. And for those of you who live across Canada, you'll also have the option of streaming many, if not all, the films from the comfort of your own home. The festivals will be running from this Thursday, April 28th, ending on Sunday, May 8th. So you still have some time to figure out what you want to watch from home or in person. This is volume one of my top picks because I want to showcase films made in Latin America that I think should be on your radar. So I want to start with the Made in Chile program. This year, Hot Dogs programmers decided that they're going to showcase films from that South American country, which totally makes sense to me. They have a very strong filmmaking energy, and some excellent filmmakers have come out of Chile. So in terms of the program itself, I think I will recommend all of the films in that program, but two that have popped sort of or come to mind really are Meeting Point by Roberto Baeza. It is a film that uses actors and family members so the director can recreate their father's deep friendship forged during the Pinochet torture camps. It's not going to be a happy film, obviously, for the reasons that it does deal with political trauma, and but it's something that needs to be discussed. And I find that when you have documentaries that present personal perspectives, then it can be a little bit more accessible. So that is Meeting Point by Roberto Baeza. The other film I want to mention from the Made in Chile program is On Suspicion Sokunentu by Daniel Diaz, or Daniel Diaz. So the synopsis of the film is that a wrongful arrest sparks famed Mapuche artist Bernardo Oyarzún to challenge Chile's colonial past. So this is a lot, we're seeing this a lot in Latin American countries where a lot of the indigenous activists are creating a lot of dialogue, and the governments, the local government doesn't really want to address the colonial past, and even some of the citizens are not ready to address the colonial past. But these are necessary discussions, so I think that's a documentary that's definitely going to be on my to-watch list. So that is On Suspicion Sokunentu by Daniel Diaz. So that is from the Made in Chile program. Another film that caught my attention that is actually Canadian, directed by Lina Rodriguez, but has a Latin American connection, is My Two Voices. So the idea is that there are three Latin American women who are sharing their experiences of immigrating to Canada while reflecting on themes of violence, belonging, and reconciliation. So I think that is also very relevant to those of us who are living in Canada who come from Latin American countries. The name of the film is My Two Voices by Lina Rodriguez. Another film that I want to highlight for you is The Wind Blows the Border, and the director is Laura Furman and Marina Weiss from Brazil. So basically, it talks about Brazil's border with Paraguay or Paraguay, and there's a woman of Guarani Kiowa background or ethnic background, and she is fighting for her community's ancestral land, and there are clashes obviously that are taking place because there are disputes as to who really owns the land. So these are actual topics that are very relevant across many countries where indigenous communities are also trying to start movements with regards to land back, and something that is very relevant for Canadians as well. On my list also here I have two films from Mexico. The first one is called The Hostilities by Sebastián Molina, and the film is told through the eyes of his young cousins to reflect on Santa Lucia, a once peaceful Mexican town now rife with crime and violence. And the idea is that maybe some of these topics are very difficult to discuss, but again, this personal sort of perspective or through the eyes of younger people could hopefully create something for us to think about and also discuss after seeing the film. So that is The Hostilities by director Sebastián Molina. Another Mexican film is called Mom. The director is Shuncero. I hope I pronounced their name right. So raised in the duality of Catholicism and his Mayan Tzotzil beliefs, the director confronts the constructs of patriarchy that have led him to blame his mother for his father leaving. It's a very powerful description. So again, these are my personal picks of films that I think are thought-provoking from the description. I have not seen all the trailers, but these are the films that I want to support in terms of some of the Latin American filmmakers at this year's festival. There's one more I want to tell you about called Split at the Root. It comes from the U.S. The director is Linda Goldstein Knowlton, but there is a Guatemala connection to the story, so hear me out. So essentially, the devastating impact of Americans' inhumane, zero-tolerance immigration policy is exposed in this film through the story of a Guatemalan asylum seeker who's detained and separated from her children and the group of mothers who organized to reunite them. Excellent sort of discussion given what's happening south of the border here. Immigration is a topic that is relevant for not just Latin Americans in the US, but also in Canada, and I speak from personal experience. So that is also a film that's on my radar called Split at the Root, and director is Linda Goldstein Knowlton. So these are the Latin American films that are on my list of seeing and support during this year's Hot Docs Film Festival. I hope that you add them to your lists if they're not finalized yet. For more details on the actual films, how you buy your tickets, whether you're going to go in person or watch from home, please visit hotdocs.ca, HOT as in Tom, DOCS.ca. for information on how to purchase your passes, your single tickets. There are FAQs. There's also an initiative from the festival to provide accessibility for selected screenings that will include closed captions, open captions, and described sound. So check out hotdocs.ca for more information and stay tuned for volume 2 of my top picks at this year's Hot Docs Festival.